Hello again, welcome back to the Surprise Lethal podcast. Joining me for episode 3 are Sam and Euan, and our special guest this week, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Bryan. Perhaps more known for being the Fate guy, I guess, in the UK. I started Weiss around late 2017, started with Fate TD, and now I've bought into many different sets, basically, waiting for Heaven's Feel. But yeah, maybe I'm more known for stacking people's decks and then burning for 6 nowadays.
Pretty much. Yeah, so I guess we could just kick straight off with Keep Treat Birmingham episode 4, which happened on Sunday. Since all 4 of us were actually there.
Yeah, there were 19 people, I think it was.
Yeah, 19 people.
19 people, and of those 19 people, the 4 we have in this call went first, second, fourth, and last.
Yeah, we're going to cover every single table. So, I don't know if anyone wants to start by describing their day. I mean, I guess I should say what series we used, first of all. I used Million Life.
Yeah, surprise, played Sal.
I've been using Godzilla for probably the last couple of episodes. I've been using it at least once or two of the tournaments of each episode so far.
And it's a big mistake.
Yeah, it's a big mistake. I told you Godzilla was bad and you didn't believe me.
It's not bad, I'm just bad with it.
See, Cabana told me that you were like certain on using ReZero.
Yeah, I played a game. I played a game against Lee before we started using Godzilla, and I was like, "This is not working. I'm going to lose." And then when James asked me what deck I was using, I just walked up to him and just went Godzilla.
The biggest misplay of the day.
Yep.
Interestingly, as well, the tournament. I think the same thing happened last month or 2 months ago, but the top 3 are actually all X2s.
I think it was last month. We had top 3 being 3 2-2s.
And once again, 5-0 in Swiss, lost in top 8.
The Swiss curse continues.
The Swiss curse continues.
But yeah, I was using Dear My Sister Gochiusa. I think it's basically the deck that's been bringing me the points this year, basically. And yeah, I went pretty okay with it. It's a pretty mindless deck, basically. It plays itself. It doesn't really need that much input from me. So I was in a pretty bad state that day. Woke up really late, missed the train and all that. So I needed a deck that could play itself. I couldn't play Rewrite or something like that. I needed something easy. So there it was.
That's an interesting take, because I would say that Rewrite's like probably more straightforward to play.
It has to do with the hand, I feel like. Gochiusa just easily fills up to 7 hand, no problem, if not more.
Yeah, but Gochiusa's game plan is usually send the level 3s into memory and play them out to level 3, which it's not like hard to do, but you know you have to get out certain cards to be able to do that.
I just think it's more like Gochiusa faces more decisions for more of the game, while Rewrite is just gathering the level 1 in hand as much as you can, playing the level 1s, keeping the level 1s around, and trying to win from there.
I guess maybe it's the margin of error. Gochiusa allows for more bad plays, basically, while Rewrite you probably need to get everything right.
Maybe. I don't know.
I guess that's by virtue of having like Gates and the 5-card Brainstorm, right?
Yeah, it's the 5-card Brainstorm, the Twin Drive that lets me plus like mad, and tons of other stuff, basically. It's pretty good, basically. It just keeps plussing. It doesn't stop. Mm-hmm. I tend to have 7 to 8 cards in hand by the end of every turn, basically. I have to ditch one, or, just... It's just good.
That's a bit like me playing ReZero.
I think for my personal tier list as well, Dear My Sister jumped up a lot recently because of how popular Summer Pockets is, and how effective the 1-0 anti-change counter is against it.
Not gonna lie, one of the biggest reasons why I picked up Dear My Sister is because the person I play the most against, Raul, he picked up Summer Pockets. So yeah, I had to pick up something that countered it.
I love counter-picking my testing friends.
I mean, I was watching a friendly between Matt and Lee Matt was running Little Busters, and apparently decided to play against Lee playing Konosuba with like, what is it, like confiscation of public property, whatever the heck.
Yeah.
2-3
event, right?
Yeah. Disclosure, right? Yeah.
The 2-3 event counter that puts all the opponent's stock in the waiting room and then puts it back on top of the deck at the end of turn. Yeah.
Yeah. That was like a friendly game that was happening next to me in the 4th place playoff, and Lee ended up stock swapping 1 card, like to pay out 2 climaxes from his stock into his refresh, and then that 1 card was the climax that Matt needed to stay alive, and just like the top like 14 cards of his deck for damage afterwards.
Oh, I remember that one.
So that was a pretty good meme.
I was gonna say, I'm surprised you were paying attention to the game next to you when you're in a 3rd, 4th place playoff. But I guess if you're sitting next to Matt and Lee and they're playing that game, I guess it's pretty hard to avoid that reaction.
To be fair, I was 2 games over when I heard that.
That was at the stage of that game where like I knew very clearly that the game was over and I couldn't claw my way back into it, because that was like after I'd like missed book and then immediately triggered 3 books, or like milled on with a Magi and triggered 1 and like drew the 3rd, and then watched my opponent mill the 4th off the top. So I was kind of disconnected from my game at that stage.
If you guys had any memorable games, do you want to share them at all?
Round 5. I played against Andrew's Tulaf Rue deck. 2 soul build. It was pretty scary because his game plan in turn 2 was literally tri-field, slap 2 soul down, swing 3/4/4. And
that sounds like someone I know.
Yeah, and that's why, like, halfway through the game, I'm like, look, I apologize for ever playing 2 soul. I now know how it feels, and oh god.
So, 2 soul's like the whole reason I got to Worlds last year.
And 2 souls are fun.
Yeah, 2 soul works. When it works, it works. So yeah, 7 went in. I cancelled on the 4th, on the final 4th swing. And if I didn't cancel on that one, I would have been 2-3, 2-4. And yeah, after that, it got better.
That's why he was still level 0 or something, right?
He was 0-4 or something, 0-3 or 0-4. And yeah, a whole level ahead. But because Gochusa then compresses like that after that, then I had no problem. And then he couldn't swing with all 3 lanes after that. So it got better, basically. But it was a very early scare.
Yeah, his game plan was like flood every game with 0s and then try and keep them alive with 2k counters, which I, from the sounds of it, didn't go too badly. But I know in the game I played against him, like, he didn't manage to like keep a board into my turn at any stage.
Yeah, I feel like the biggest problem was that I don't think he runs a brainstorm. I think.
I don't know. I mean,
Because
like, even if he did, he'd move it up and swing with it to try and keep pressure up, right?
Yeah, it just felt like he ran out of hand once he went, I think, 2 turns tri-fielding and ramming.
Well, because none of his characters ever survived.
Yeah,
that tends to be a common thing, and when you just go guy climax at level 0 a lot.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing a lot of stuff that pluses you, or they're surviving the turn, you're just gonna burn out real quick.
Sal can manage XD. But yeah, that's mostly due to clean cut. I finally managed to use Married Life in my 4th place playoff. I used it to tie with a Summer Pockets Salvage Brainstorm to dodge a reverse.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even know you ran Married Life in that deck.
It's a one-off. to win the Summer Pockets match.
See, I was expecting something like, oh, you managed to get big enough to beat one of the 2-1s with like the climax and the boost from that, rather than just assist 500 letting you trade a 0.
Yeah, it's
Trade with a
yeah.
brainstorm.
I've noticed a lot when people don't like when people run reverse combos. Because I want to play a climax early quite frequently, I have to like pick between playing a climax or crashing into one of the lanes to like dodge a reverse that way. So having like some variable power at 0 really helps. I did use it to make a clean cut 5-5 as well, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it helps Sal a lot because Sal like really struggles to get over like about 7-5. It's like without the brainstorm, and that's only in center slot, so you can't really like reverse everything you'd want to. So being able to swing over like 1175 hand on calls rather than tying with them helps tempo a lot.
Just being able to allocate that 1k anyway is pretty versatile.
Yeah. And like
that's
having a second card in back row is nice. Having an extra clean cut target is nice. It's overall been like a pretty versatile card. Like I took out a brainstormer for it, which a lot of people hate how I don't use brainstorms, but I think it's been quite effective.
Yeah, I think Sal has the utility to get away with not running as many brainstorms as you normally would.
Like, the main issue is his brainstorms aren't good because they're S2, and like you like every form of plussing you've got is paid, other than clean cut. So like brainstorming really isn't cost efficient.
I mean, the Amagi feels enough anyway. It feels like.
Sorry?
I feel like the Amagi's enough anyway. It's like every time we play, you always have the Amagi at the back, and you're always playing the Amagi at least 3 times the effect, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Like,
like
when you're running bars or pants, like Amagi's become a really nice option in your deck because you just get to use it a lot.
yeah, I mean, like especially with Lucia promoted dig and stuff like that. Yeah, like that's how the deck's designed, right? It's a gold bar every time, and Amagi really complements that.
Yeah, so the same goes for Little Busters, where you just Amagi every turn instead of needing to do things like brainstorms.
Yeah. Well,
Amagi
because
and
like if you want to compare,
Milky Homes, that's the one.
Oh, Milky Homes, okay.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
yeah, if you want to compare Amagis to brainstorms, you've got like a consistent pay 1+1 so long as you're playing a climax, which you tend to be doing anyway, or tend to want to do anyway at least, as opposed to pay 1 plus anywhere from 0 to 4, generally around 0 to 1, and like rely on RNG, which isn't really that like I don't think it's I just really value the consistency in a deck like Sal, which needs to be like very conscious of its resources all the time.
I also really like the fact that Amagis you can stop before the 4th card, unlike brainstorms.
Yeah.
Because that really helps with refreshing sometimes on the right cards, and yeah.
Basically,
And like Amagas, as opposed to, you might not get as much choice with what you're grabbing off an Amagi as you would with like a search or a salvage brainstorm, but you still get to take your pick of any up to 4 general cards.
Yeah, and when you're running
Sal's
something
whole
like
thing is like selective plussing and just grabbing things that you know you need. It's really useful.
Yeah, I mean, like it complements Yuki perfectly, right?
Yeah,
being like a discard out and like hand fix. So.
And the biggest deal about it is the fact that you guarantee the card for paying 1.
Yeah, basically. The guarantee plus is really important.
So we've talked about Sword Art for a little while now.
My bad.
Interestingly, my most memorable game of the day was also against Gemma in round 1. She saw.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you could. I think it's fair to say I won by some very unique circumstances.
Oh right, I remember that.
Did you? Either of you
Yeah,
guys
I
sound
was
Brian
I
about that
was
game?
2 tables down from that.
But basically, I used the 1-0 yellow. I think it's uncommon from Million Life. The one that makes your opponent declare a number, and then you mill a card, and if the number they declared is the level of the card you milled, you draw cards. Yeah, and this is the best I could do. I had all the stock ready for the 3/7 event, but I didn't have the red character to enable it. Gemma declares 0, I mill a 0, and I draw a red character. There were
Oh, wow.
in my probably 10 card or so deck, there are only 2 possible hits that give me a red character. Get one of them as well. All of this would have been solved so easily if I'd used the salvage brainstorm instead of the search brainstorm. So a while, and that like definitely confirms it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think watching that like play out, it was quite like I don't want to say like upsetting or disappointing, but it was painful to watch because I like if you're put in that scenario as the opposing player, right? You generally declare some like a smaller number. Like her reasoning was like I only want him to draw the one card if he does hit. But then like the number of zeros in your deck is like 24, 23, something like that. As opposed to like 5 twos, 8 threes, something like that.
Yeah, I could have
Yeah,
declared
I'm not
2.
sure if she ended up doing this because I wasn't watching the whole point of that game. But typically at that kind of point, you'd take a look and just see how many of certain levels are out, and maybe maybe guess a high number like 3 if you see quite a lot of level 3s in the waiting room. But I'm not entirely sure if she ended up doing that or not.
I think she just went for the most reward option, which is quite fair.
Yeah. Ironically enough, my most memorable game of that day was also against Gemma. Mainly because of how I lost it. Mainly because of like how the game went against her, and it was the point in that game where I knew I had ended up losing, and that was mainly just being 2 climaxes in 10 cards, eating 8 damage, and then drawing into the following 2 climaxes, which always has a habit of happening to me and feels really bad.
Sounds like you shouldn't have been playing Godzilla, to be honest.
I mean, Godzilla had nothing to do with that situation.
Even if not directly,
Yeah.
Godzilla surely had something to do with that situation.
Yeah, me playing the deck had something to do with that situation because maybe I would have won my round 1.
I think one of the weirdest things that happened to me was playing against Sneaker Bunko, which was running the level 1 book combo, and have it whiff 3 times.
Oh.
While Lee was complaining because he was like, I only run 15 zeros to prevent exactly this from happening, and yet it happened anyway.
Oof. Actually, feels yeah.
Well.
The game I had against Sneaker Bunko was pretty interesting as well. Round 1 against Brandon Allen, he won with the Kuro Usagi finisher, and that really hurt. So he swings in. He knows I have 2 climaxes left in the deck. He swings in twice, both cancel, and then the Kuro Usagi goes through the reswing, and yeah.
So speaking of Sneaker Bunko, there were actually 4 players at this tournament who used it. Apparently, they busted open about a case and a half at Chimera on Friday or the Saturday.
We had a lot of Sneaker Bunko opened over the weekend.
I had no idea the set would be that popular. Kind of disappointing, honestly.
It's definitely been a set that's divided some people.
It's fun because it's a set that definitely is very open initially. I think a lot of people are quite like unsure what most people look at the Konosuba Girl finisher and go, this is probably the correct choice for the set, but that's like 8 cards of 50. So,
I mean, there's so many ways to play Sneaker Bunko.
yeah.
It's really up to the player on how they want to play level 1 or level 3.
I think Lee's is the closest to what I'd call like a good build, inverted commas. With the like kind of like Aaron Union cross book combo. Just because reverse denial is like really strong currently.
So
Yeah,
I'm not too sure
The
about.
set's really flexible with what you can do. I like the level 1 combo, and I think the level 3 Heinrich that comes into play mills 5 burns for climaxes. I think that card is incredibly strong.
It comes with memory kick as well, if you want it to.
Comes with a memory kick, and you get to scry before you do your mill,
Or after.
or
Yeah.
after if you're feeling lucky about it.
If you're feeling lucky about it.
I mean, like, try last to check your trigger, not
Yeah.
not just to tempt the gods.
Nah, tempt the gods. Look at the cards. See if there's a climax.
Is it scry to top or bottom, or is it?
It's scry to top or bottom.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. I think the chocolate EP early play is decent. Like a 4 or more draw 2 drop 2 blind stock one is very.
I feel like it's nothing
efficient.
special, but it works in the deck.
Like it's just one of those really efficient cards, right? Like comparing it to like an early play top X. Like you can either pay 2 for a body and a card, or pay 1 for a body and hand fix.
Yeah, and
the condition is
useful.
like the blind stock is kind of whatever, but like
Yeah.
the ease with which you can like set it up and get it to go off like every game, and it is like it's something that your opponent has to at least consider dealing with. So.
It's also not worth anti-changing anyway.
Mm,
So the opponent has to find a way to do with it that isn't anti-change usually.
yeah.
So I'm actually kind of a fan of the bunny shot climax combo
yes.
level 3.
Yeah, by far. I feel like that's the spiciest finisher.
Remind me what it is.
So its combo is up to twice per turn. If damage dealt by this sticks, deal 1 damage.
No, that's not good.
See, in a nutshell, in a vacuum, it's not good at all. But there's also a 2-1 event that gives one of your characters plus 15 and on reverse burn 1. And I think that's what makes the card.
It seems win Mori to me, which I don't like.
Not necessarily.
Well, because like your opponent's like 3 whatever, maybe like high level 2, and like I guess it's like your ideal reach finisher, but like I don't think I ever want to be in a position where I'm forced to stick damage. Like I'd rather my opponent be on 3-5 and have 3 instances of 2 than like have to stick more damage to win the game, and that's what that card sounds like to me. It's just increasing like the amount of damage you need to stick in order to be effective.
I really.
I mean,
The
you
only
could
way
really
it's
just
bad
check for
is
trigger, then slide for 1.
The only real way it's bad is if they cancel both the 3 and the 1. The big problem with it is actually needing enough events to make it really explosive.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, the problem is drawing into the event. The draw to ditch 2 helps, but it's going to take a bit of luck to get there.
Does the event have any kind of bond to it?
Nope.
I'm actually not sure. But Brian's looked through the set more.
I'm actually building that particular build right now.
Oh, nice.
The level 1 choose blind stock or choose to salvage, and then up top is the bunny and the mill burn.
I'm not actually sure which level 1 combo is the best. But I guess it's worth noting the one that topped out of all 4 of them at Birmingham was the TD gate combo, which is just a Magaro that only works if you have 5 or less stock.
That reminded me of like combos like the Railgun level 1 and the Athena level 1 having a stock requirement like that. It gave me like some Vietnam flashbacks to
flashbacks.
Late
the Magaro combo is great, but I really like the blind stock too, just because it gives a choice whether or not to plus or blind stock. But then again, it's not really that good. It's not consistent. But there is a PR that pumps a character by 2k on entry, so. But yeah, it's whatever really.
Yeah, I guess the issue with the book combo is that it is just like at the end of the day, it's like a 5/5 Shimakaze with a 1k1 behind it, which is kind of lackluster. But I think because the meta is very like, I was gonna say spongy Shimakaze. I can't think of a better adjective. Just very, very like big on my turn, small on yours Shimakazes. I think combos like that are in a decent spot.
Bit of a glass cannon.
Yeah, I guess.
I'm quite a big fan of the Iris level 3 combo.
Certainly,
it's not bad.
In a vacuum, it's probably going to be the most consistent choice.
Yeah, I mean, a card that can do 2 instances of damage just from itself is, well, potentially more if you get lucky on your. Oh, I know, it's a X time sum of. Never mind. Yeah, 2 at most is like still quite a nice thing from a card.
Is that a Konosuba goal or?
Yes.
Yeah. Like I think that's like an easy choice for like the best like climax combo finish. I think that profile's just good. It's kind of a shame that like it's replaced any like top 3 or heal or draw 2 drop 1 or whatever with the on play mill 2. But,
doesn't Lee run the TD healer, the one that on reverse burn full?
Yeah, he was running like a 5-card red splash just for Haruki healers.
Yeah, and you've always got things like the chocolates to early play if you want to do some hand fixing for that turn.
I guess, yeah.
But I guess the downside of using the chocolate is the blind stock. You can't tell whether or not you're putting a soul trigger into there for the Iris.
I mean, that doesn't matter too much.
It's only by the way, that the reason to scry second would also be the fact that if you're using the Iris as well, you make sure that hits.
Yeah, true. If you're using the Iris, then you definitely probably want to do the scry second.
Yeah.
And it gives you an excuse to run wind in the deck, which is always useful.
It gives you that out against early play matchups. Just trigger
wind is a really strong trigger.
The most skillful way to beat summer pockets.
And cart capture nowadays as well, with reflex running around.
I don't know. Like every time people talk about wind as like an incredibly strong trigger, I think people like overhype it, and I think people forget that yellow triggers suck.
I mean, true.
Like if you wanted to pick like any trigger for your climax combo, I think wind is going to be down there in like 6.
I think it's a bit dependent on your meta. I think if you know you're going up against like a lot of players playing summer pockets or Kero build for card captors, wind becomes a lot more appealing to run.
But even then, unless your deck is actually 8 wind, it's still something you can't really bank on at all.
True. I tend to trigger winds at the wrong time, basically. Whenever I need to bounce something, it's not coming, and then I trigger wind at level 0, for example. I just go like, well, I'm not bouncing that runner. So
yeah, I mean, it's like the difference between like occasionally being able to disrupt your opponent versus consistently getting a card.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there's really much else to talk about for Sneaker Bunko, right?
I don't think so. I think the thing that's really holding the set back for me is like I think it's like utility is very and just like it's outside like the finish and maybe the level one. I think most of its game plan is kind of like baseline generic and not too exciting.
Yeah, it's
Which
got
Yeah, I can agree with that. When they were doing the card of the days, other than the finishes and a couple of the level 1 combos, I didn't really see anything that I saw and was like, this is really useful.
I think what really stood out for me was the fact that the 3-3 rest counter was green, and there was no way I could fit that in anywhere.
Yeah.
It really hurt, basically, to see it in a color that was completely irrelevant, essentially.
Yeah, green didn't get the best stuff, to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, you just want like any zero, right? In the same way that like Little Busters has like 4 key 3 money, and like that's your blue, your setup.
More like 4 money, my dude.
I mean, I guess
But yeah, for green, there's the clock swap at level 0, but it does absolutely nothing else. So
Yeah.
it's kind of empty there. There's the 1-0 that mills 3 and could potentially neg 3k, but yeah.
Yeah, but then all of a sudden you're relying on green so much more.
Yeah, you get a level 1 as well.
Yeah.
It just really feels bad. Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people run the Is it the clock swap, the I shaved and bought a girlfriend home card? Whatever that actually is called.
I'm not sure what to talk about, to be honest.
What was that?
I think I know the one you're on about.
It's like the girl on her knees with
It's
like
the,
a shirt kind of unbuttoned.
Yeah, I'm looking at the card right now. It's the Z3, isn't it? The pay to search when you level up and rest give out 1500.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of people on that card just because they think it's good, so maybe that's your green splash.
I guess it's alright.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'd rather run Merit Life or something.
Yeah.
If that is to give power.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's like to give out the power and plus sometimes. Yeah, it is kind of sketchy for sure. There's no like obvious choice, which I think highlights the problem.
Yeah, to be fair, there's no other good green back row anyway, other than the tap 2 search brainstorm, which is just sad, really.
Kind of dire, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if you're running like a lot of green at 0, you probably are using that Z3, but you're not really using that with the brainstorm because it's a tap 2.
Yeah,
Yeah, green could have been handled a lot better in that set, I think.
Besides Kadokawa as a series, what do you guys think of what the booster does for Konosuba and Haruhi?
It doesn't do anything significant for Haruhi, so let's just
I'd agree.
put that to bed straight away.
Yeah.
It gave the set standby, but Haruhi didn't need standby.
Like it gave like one of very few sets in the game that doesn't have good standby targets as standby trigger.
There is one cool thing you can do. There's like a TD change that's that one core step, I'm pretty sure.
Like,
So, you get that level 3 out at level 1, then do nothing with it.
yeah. Just watch it get anti-changed after you've poured all these resources into it.
And changing the alien book to a pants isn't going to make it top tier suddenly, so.
Yeah. I think the stuff that Konosuba got is I mean, a reprint of the Mega Man promo is like, I'm very grateful. I'm glad that they're like trying harder to like reprint promos and like keep their price down. Same with like the Fate Free Fresh.
Yeah,
they've reprinted that.
Yeah. Just because like if we ever have a card like Little Busters 2 Soul again, I think we're gonna be in a pretty shaky spot. But like, so that reprint is huge, and I think it got some other like good utility. I don't think like the Iris finish will like see play outside Sneaker Bunko because I think like it's too off trait for Konosuba to run it like consistently.
Yeah, it's suddenly very clunky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
it missing like adventurer trait is pretty huge for the deck.
Surprised I didn't get the traits actually.
I think it's because like they wanted to have like that like they wanted to print a card for Konosuba that was like the main card of the set to like get people to buy Konosuba 2 or not like Konosuba as well. Like they didn't want to accidentally create like a second Sao with Konosuba, so they made it off trait to kind of keep the power level around where it is, which is still very high. Like Konosuba is still one of the better sets in the game. So.
Yeah, I don't think Konosuba needed anything over the top printed in Sneaker Bunko to add to it.
Just wait, is this how Alicization is going to treat SEO now? Somehow.
I mean, honestly, I'd be fine. Like, we're already getting a better runner, probably, which is all I could ask of a new set.
I mean, it does depend because, for example, the TD this time didn't have a runner, if I'm not wrong, for Kadokawa.
Did it not?
I don't think so.
Oh, that's a bit.
I think the only runner was the double R runner, actually. The no runner.
Monka S, boys.
Yeah, have fun getting more expensive double R's, I guess. It's moving on from Sneaker Bunko now. So we have a nice hefty portion on that. We've got the most renowned Fate player in the UK in this core. And also Euan, who's getting into Fate.
Yeah, at just about the right time.
Just about the right time.
Yeah, it's a very good time to get into Fate.
Fate was nearly the second set I bought, so I've waited this long.
I'm not gonna lie, Heavens feels tempting me to get into Fate as well.
It was tempting me too.
There's so much potential, basically. Fate is like basically a C D tier deck right now because it just doesn't work. But all it needs is a little bit more, and then it can start really challenging.
Yeah, I think people were getting excited about it before first card was even revealed because the amount of cards Fate has already, if it just has like a little bit more modernizing,
it has
really,
all the
really
utility it needs. It has all the broken cards. It just needs it needs that more utility. It needs a brainstorm. It's getting a brainstorm. It's gonna be good.
Yeah, it just needs like a 2019 set to like push it over the edge, I think.
Yeah, I mean, what's more, it has a Cyclone at level 0.
It has multiple.
Yeah, 2 different ones.
Yeah. Like Fate has like a lot of stuff. It just needs like I think a lot of like I hate to compare to Sao because we've spoken about Sao a lot already. But like Sao is like a lot of like about like above average cards focused around really good cards like Yuki. And I think Fate's just missing those really good cards to focus the build around. And I think when if it gets those, which I think the rider that got revealed already kind of is one of those.
Yeah, that rider combo I think is going to be really useful.
Yeah, I think it's
that one's quite interesting because that does mean a shift from running yellow, red, blue to yellow, red, green.
I mean, like with the Sakura brainstorm, I think like green is going to be the main color.
Yeah, but that does mean losing out on the Flames event at level 1, the 3/3 heal at level 3, and then the top X restand the constant.
I mean, you don't have to go pure green. I wouldn't be surprised if the main deck is like green, blue, like splashing for the heal event, something like that.
The problem with that is that yellow and red have really good cards, though.
Yeah, but like you don't have to run them in every build. But like, I think a lot of like I think yellow's cards are kind of lackluster a lot of the time outside like Musashi, I guess.
Yellow definitely seems like one of those colors where you're running it at the moment because you don't really have many better options.
Yeah, I think the Soul Assist gets overhyped.
I think it's reasonable to just keep yellow in anyway because you're probably going to want the clock on global regardless. And then you have enough yellow to reasonably get away with using Musashi.
I guess. Yeah.
The clock on
yeah,
course also
but like,
problem.
maybe I'm biased because I'm like hedging my bets on the Sakura Katsuki being good, but I like we've already got like half of, or like the majority of like the 8 gold bar shell to build around. So
Yeah. I mean, I don't doubt the green deck's going to be very good, but I also think the old Masters deck is also going to get a really big boost.
Yeah, we spoke about this yesterday as well. I think the Burn 6 deck is going to be. It's already like people already consider it, but they don't really hype it as much, or I don't think it gets as not enough love as it really should, because it's a very fun deck to watch, let alone to like play.
Zarak is an interesting one in that it's really hard to play. I feel like it takes a lot of controlling what's in your hand and and when to clock and call, etc., etc.
it's very it's a very like inorganic way to play. I think I'd compare it to like Hearthstone's Questro, where like it plays a very unlike any other set in the game.
It for me honestly feels like a delayed Exodia deck sometimes. In that you
Yeah.
just need you need those 3-4 cards in your hand, and then hold on to them basically, and then or maybe draw into them perhaps with a top X, and yeah, and at level 3 let loose, and that's it.
Yeah, it's like the closest to like a control combo deck Hoist really has. I think because like, a lot of like people like set up for climax combos, but yeah, you a lot of the time that's just setting up for like a discard cost or something. So,
the biggest problem with the deck though, it's not even the stock, it's actually the fact that the opponent can play against it really well. If they know what you're doing, they can just leave their waiting room empty upon hitting level 3 and that's it.
Yeah.
In fact, the mirror match is the most awkward because Fate has to free fresh.
Yeah, I mean, like that's what Yarbakker's build is focused around, is like not needing a waiting room to set up, so you can pop off no matter what.
Yeah, Winterbutt is a fine play, but then it only mills 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I'm looking
one of the solutions we talked about was the stock swap event.
Yeah.
But of course, that being in green, you need a lot more green, which
and that brings your total events.
Heaven's Feel.
That also brings your total events to 8 events.
Yeah, that's also a bit of a
lame.
I guess it's somewhat of a sketchy number.
The like deck stacking mechanics remain, but Zelrect itself like falls out of favor with like a better top end, and you just use it to like guarantee a swing.
I think there's still the potential for Zelrect to like be the focus of that. All it needs from Heaven's Feel is more good Sakura cards with the master trait that you can throw into the main deck. That way you can splash the 1/1 event. Wait, was it a 1? Is it a 1/1 stuff?
It's a 1/1 event, and it needs three or more greens basically on the field to play. That's why I want a good level 1 master trait combo.
Yeah, I mean, we've already got the Sakura Brainstorm, which covers one of your options.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get some level 3s that can cantrip or something.
I'm waiting for Draw to Dish 1 Brainstorm, actually. If we can get one of those, it will really help with getting the events, basically. And that could potentially let us get away running 8.
But I think the Elia combo at the moment is quite beneficial for the deck, because
it's on a stop soul
as well. Just a simple draw combo that nets you stock by playing the climaxes.
But
it complements running that many events nicely.
It's the stop soul as well. It's the fact that it gives you stock for Zelrech later on. It really helps.
The issue is it's a combo that like suits the deck, but is itself not that good.
Yeah, but it doesn't need to be itself that good as long as it complements the deck well.
I completely disagree.
It's actually okay now, because before this, without the new Sakura Brainstorm, the old Sakura Brainstorm didn't have Master Trait, and basically Ilian needs the whole field to be Master and Servant. So you couldn't get the combo off really well without crashing the Sakura Brainstorm, which is just ridiculous. But now you actually have a Brainstorm that's Master Trait, and it works. So
like I just hate like the card being 500 power and crashing into like the glass cannon Shimakaze we were talking about earlier. I think that's like like even if it's like you go like like being able to draw instead of like searching helps you like set up all these events in hand. It really sucks having to um side or crash.
Yeah, I've actually had really bad games where I sided with the Ilias so that I could then clock on core 3 times the next turn and go again. It's really feels bad, but it has happened before.
Yeah, it's not ideal. I think any combo that can replace it should be run over it.
But if the Go bar is going to be a generic Shimakaze, I feel like I would still run the Ilia for now.
Yeah, I'd agree.
In Zolrex maybe, but in any other deck, I disagree. I think a better climax combo would be a reason to move away from Zolrex if it doesn't work with Zolrex, just because
Zolrex will be. I feel like the issue coming into Heaven's Field, Zolrex will have problem with stock if it's moving away from the stock soul combo. Because it's really hard to get to 7 stock as it is with Zolrex, considering the amount of searching it needs to do all throughout the game. And it seems to be costless, but honestly isn't costless. I pay a lot out.
Yeah, so. I guess that's something kind of interesting with the rider combo, right? Is it is quite stock intensive. So if the climax combo that gets revealed is costed, we'll be in quite an interesting spot.
Yeah, about the rider combo actually, another issue is there's no good hexproof back row right now for Fate. So,
do you need it?
I feel like it would be much safer with the opponent not being able to just, for example, there's that new Misashi that Goblin Slayer has to just pay to bounce something.
Are there really any big threats in that deck that? Oh, I guess if they have the rider out, you don't really want that getting bounced, and that would be a pretty important target to hit with it.
That's the main problem, yeah. But I mean, otherwise, it's mostly just paranoia about wind or about the opponent having a random bouncing ability.
Yeah, especially if something like Goblin Slayer sees a lot of play, people might start running things like Wormhole and Shuffle Time. And Heaven's Field could get caught in the crossfire of that.
Yeah, but otherwise, there's currently a Saber back row that gives only center slot hexproof, and it's a Taketsubo clone. It only searches Shiro and Saber, so no, it's not really good.
Yeah.
I have to move us on from Fate now because we are running quite low on time.
Sure.
Yep.
So I think really the last thing to talk about is, I guess at this point I'm going to have an English corner at the end of each episode. Yeah, there was a Springfest in Atlanta. I don't know too much about the team that won it, but I know what series they used and the types of builds they were based on people on Discord.
Okay, here's with it.
Bang Dream,
yeah,
Love Life Sunshine,
yeah,
ReZero.
Yeah, super standard. Nothing surprising. I guess it's surprising to miss AOT and.
It's surprising AOT's not on the list.
Yeah.
I think fewer and fewer people are running AOT. I said this when Bang Dream Set 2 was announced and we had ReZero in the pipeline. Both of those sets will borrow players from the AOT player base because people will have been playing AOT because it's the best deck, but will be very happy to move away from it given the first chance.
I feel like that's a really good thing because when I first got into Weiss a year or so ago, AOT used to be basically the deck to play in English, and it's one of the reasons why I chose to play Japanese Weiss more so than English. But now it's seemingly become healthier, the meta. So
yeah, I think when Luke was asking me about the English metagame, I drew a pentagram to show the 5 main decks of the format. So it's in a super healthy spot at the moment.
Yeah. So with I
think it's actually going to look more like a 6 or 7 as well.
With ReZero 2, yeah. I think I overestimated ReZero. But with its second set, I think it'll get up there.
Also GGO.
But why run GGO in a format with Love-Live Sunshine unbanned?
Because GGO although it does similar things to Sunshine, it's also got a few good things for itself.
I don't think it's enough to set it apart.
That's fair enough.
I think the early play engine is a lot. If you compare them side by side, it's pretty obvious that Sunshine's is really good and GGO's is like a more balanced variant on that.
I'd say GGO is better at winning board at the beginning. And it can get like more resources to toolbox a bit more late game rather than just doing one thing very, very well.
Will it have a problem actually at level 1 because it's on reverse?
This is the concern.
But then people run Chica to plenty of success.
Speaking of, good
It's
segue into this. The Sunshine list used the Chica combo.
Yeah,
For the
like
second in a row.
as time goes on, I'm more and more won over by Chica combo. I hate to say.
As time goes on, I question every single Love-Live Sunshine player. Even more.
I get the argument that two solos are win con and being uninteractive is really powerful and having two instances of plussing is good and so on and so forth. But I think Slayers are actually in a really good spot in English at the moment, even against things like Sal. I think Ruby really suffers versus Sal, but I think Chica has a better time generally. So
I guess it depends how many Sugus they leave behind rather than Yukis, right?
I guess the danger is you hit level 1 first and then they just Yuki over your guys, but I think generally you'll have at least 2 reverse targets, so you should be okay. I think against things like Bang Dream, I think Chica's at least comparable to Ruby. Slayers are just annoying for your opponent to deal with, and I think that's enough that's is pushing me over the edge in favor of it. I think Stalk Soul lets you play more aggressively too, which is nice.
For the ReZero deck, there's nothing really too exciting about that. It's just it doesn't really lead to anything.
Was it just Amelia Bath time?
No, it was Amelia Ram, which I'm not surprised. Because in set 1, I think that's probably the best option. I'm not going to get into my whole usual ReZero debate right now, but I don't value the felt nearly as much as most people do. And with just set 1, I think Amelia Ram is probably your best option. But going into set 2, you got a lot more to play with. And I would be very surprised if going into set 2 for English, you'd still see lots of people running the Ram combo as opposed to something like Betty or Watermelon.
I think Felt's mostly sketchy in English because AOT can just swing over it with an Aaron, which is kind of grim. And I think that's
pretty tragic.
I think when ReZero came out initially, I think Felt was really strong because most people had one anti-change, and it wasn't even it was a card that you didn't want to anti-change because it's super cost efficient, but it also generates value over time, so you have to anti-change it.
See, I think when looking at the Rem and the Felt, I think the Felt is the better anti-change target.
Yeah, well, I think it's very rare that you actually need to anti-change Rem.
Yeah, especially nowadays when plenty of people are capable of playing their own early plays, which are capable of beating over a Rem with a marker.
Yeah, but
some of which are even capable of getting out of counter range.
My main issue with the Rem early play is it's the compression that it gains, which is its main like strength, I think.
It's super delayed.
It doesn't activate quickly enough. Exactly. Like even if you refresh with like 3 markers, like it's kind of whatever.
You've taken a while to get to those markers.
Like,
that's partly the reason why I've cut down the amount of copies I run of that card. Like that, and the fact that most people, they just kill it the turn after it comes in.
Yeah, I know, like a lot of the time I'll just leave it and then try and sheen on over it. And like, it's never like there are 2 of them and suddenly you're locked out of the board.
I feel like nowadays it's just not intimidating per se to see it.
When it first came out, a lot of people were really scared of it. But I think that's because when the set first came out in Japanese, most people weren't running nearly as many things that were able to just kill it straight away. So it had time to get big, had time to get loads of markers, even if like the delayed benefit of getting those markers, you still have a lane that's winning almost every turn, but that just isn't the case anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and like at that time, most level 3s were just like 10k Musashis and stuff like that, right? Like,
pretty much.
No finish was like needed to reverse, and so there wasn't any power at 3.
There's just so many different early plays nowadays that level 2 feels really fast sometimes. Within turn or 2, things just kind of go, oops, time to level 3 now.
Yeah.
And RAM kind of becomes insignificant at that point.
I think it's nice though, because I think in like 2015, level 2, unless you were playing against Blue Titans, level 2 was just extended level 1, and was very kind of like just uninteresting.
The amount of games I play with ReZero where I feel like I need to early play that RAM, even if it's for the heal, is actually very, very infrequent now.
Yeah, but like the way that the design team have been working is to try and put more emphasis on level 2 and make it like a more exciting stage of the game, which is nice.
It's definitely become more interesting, at least, level 2, with bigger 2-1s, and I think there's more 2-1-2 souls nowadays that's coming out as well, I've noticed.
What, stuff like Little Busters?
Yeah, and then there's one from Kadokawa as well, I think one from Steins Gate that recently also got
Fate Apocrypha also got one.
Oh yeah, the Mordred, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2-1, I like any level 2 that's got like 2 soul, just because it basically fulfills the same role that early playing a level 3 will do, which is to get a 2 soul swing out at level 2. Except it's not as susceptible, it's not like able to be anti-changed. And in cases like the Mordred is really hard to kill, and you save stock.
Yeah, the Steins Gate thing is very similar to the Mordred, I think, except you can only play it at 1, which kind of like defeats the purpose of the conversation. Yeah, like Bashir just want people to put level 2s in their deck, especially because like it used to be you run like an assist for your level 3s because they're cost efficient at 2, and then people stopped doing that. So your level 2 line was like an anti-change counter or an anti-change like bomb or something, and that was it. That was your entire level 2 lines. So
yeah, most sets nowadays are getting level 2s that you can look at and go, I could see myself playing this, especially in sets that have standby now.
Yeah.
A couple of good ones here, and Kadokawa got, I think, that one gigantic level 2 that sits at 11k, I think.
Yeah, ReZero has a 2/2 rem that can get to about 10/5, 11k, and effectively is only 1 stock because you're playing it on a full board usually.
Yeah, and then of course Rewrites has the Lucia trash bags.
Yeah. And then you've got those weird sets like Darling and Lock and Logic, like even back before the ban list, where you've just got early play combos at level 2. That's something I've seen them do a few times now.
Yeah, I mean that's just an extension of having early plays at 2 that like are engaging and exciting, and like, oh yeah. I guess in the case of Sunshine, you just go, God's sake, not again. But
Yeah.
I think maybe that's why they're also printing those 1-0 changes into 2-1s nowadays to encourage more level 2 game,
yeah,
or at least putting in level 2 cards.
I'm all for them making level 2 like much more fun to play with, but I feel like Weiss being what it is, the game can be too quick towards the end part of the game, where you might just not even do much at level 2 because you'll either just go straight to level 3, or you're about to hit level 3, so you want to save your stock for your level 3 turn.
Yeah, the biggest problem is the irrelevance that level 2 cards tend to get once you get swung up, and at that point, what's the point basically of slamming down 2-1s when you can just put a level 3 down?
Yeah, I'm not really sure what they would do to fix that kind of issue, because it's kind of a core game problem rather than just an issue with how people
they've
are
been
playing.
printing more cost-efficient finishes so that you can go a bit ham a bit earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anything
Obviously, there's only so far they can make something cost efficient against how good it is before people look at it and just go, "Well, that's really broken."
Yeah, it's a fine line for sure.
I mean, at least they still haven't reprinted Yami yet, thank God.
Yeah, that's another conversation. Let's save that one in our back pocket.
Save that for a rainy day.
Yeah, just let it be known. Don't think Yami's that good.
Yeah, I don't think we have much time for anything else, really, sadly. So, I think this is a good point to wrap up. If you have anything else you want to say, get it in now.
If I ever tell anyone I'm going to play Godzilla, stop me.
Noted.
Looking forward to the explosion of fake players, I guess, in the UK.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks for episode 4.